Every year, it's literally like Christmas.
A Vancouver educator is the Regional Teacher of the Year. See what's happening in her classroom that's earned her one of the biggest honors a teacher can get. Plus,
I've wanted to be a teacher since I was a kindergartner.
the first day of school is a major milestone. See why it was extra special for two Vancouver teachers. And find out why the crowd at Fort Vancouver High School was going wild at a special assembly. Hello, and welcome to Inside Vancouver Public Schools. I'm Carl Click. For the second year in a row, an educator from Vancouver Public Schools is the Regional Teacher of the Year. Kendra Yamamoto, here with the other state Regional Teachers of the Year, represented Southwest Washington at the state competition in Olympia. She didn't win the state title, but as Nick Vole discovered, the kids in Kendra's classroom mean a lot more to her than any accolade.
A, B, C, D.
When she was 5 years old, Kendra Yamamoto decided she wanted to be a teacher. When she was hired by Vancouver Public Schools to teach kindergarten,
I was so anxious to get my keys to the building. I would actually go and spy in the windows.
midway through a stellar career, that exuberance for her job remains.
Every year, it's literally like Christmas to open that door and see all these new faces and all of this excitement.
At the calm center of the storm stands Kendra.
Like being a conductor in an orchestra where you're constantly orchestrating how the day goes, and that looks different every day. Sometimes it looks different than what you planned, even minute to minute. And I think that that's really exciting and fun to read the room and think, what do these kids need and how can I orchestrate the day so that we all get through it together happily?
This fall, Kendra was named the Regional Teacher of the Year for Southwest Washington.
She's just an amazing teacher.
That's the consensus on Kendra, who is so dedicated to her craft, she not only teaches every day at King Elementary, but mentors 15 to 20 new educators a year.
I'm able to exchange ideas that worked for me yesterday that they can implement into their classrooms. And I do the same with them, and I'll say, that was amazing. Can I have a copy of that, or can I implement this activity into my class? So I think there's a lot of collaboration that I'm able to do with those new teachers.
Her openness to ideas reflects her goal of lifelong learning, a principle she embodies in her teaching. Last spring, Kendra started an evening preschool program to prepare kids for success in school.
She does such an amazing job reaching out to every family and meeting the needs of every student that comes in her classroom, regardless of their socioeconomic background, regardless of the exposure that they've had to early learning.
We say, welcome to the school district, you're ours, and let's address any questions you have, any needs you might have.
That's basically 3 jobs for one woman, who's also a mother with 3 children under the age of 10.
Yeah, my life is, whether it's at home or school, it's filled with children, but that keeps me happy.
Thanks, Nick. As I mentioned, Kendra is the second VPS teacher in a row to win that regional honor. Bethany Rivard of Fort Vancouver won that last year. The last state teacher of the year from the district was teacher librarian Mark Ray. He won in 2012. Mark's getting noticed nationally. Beginning this fall, he's working half-time for the Alliance for Excellent Education. That's based in Washington, D.C. In that role, he'll influence the direction of our country's school libraries. He's also remaining with the Vancouver Public School District part-time as the district's Director of Innovation and Library Services. Congratulations, Mark. Over the next few years, schools in Vancouver could begin to look much different. The Vancouver Public Schools Board of Directors is considering a potential bond measure for the February ballot that would replace and repair schools all across the district. There are many reasons. Among them, several of the district's schools are more than 50 years old and they're showing signs of wear. That includes failing heating and cooling systems, roofs that leak, and more. Another reason for the bond, class sizes. Many of the district schools are holding more students than they were built for, so we need more classrooms to keep the district in line with state standards. And a third reason, technology. Buildings built decades before the internet, not equipped to keep up with our modern connected world. To plan for possible school replacements, the district has been holding symposiums where community members, students, parents, and staff can all come together and share what they would like to see in a new school. The ideas they generate there are given to architects and the district leaders who formulate design concepts. The best ideas from the symposiums may be incorporated into the final design. So what's the timeline? The symposiums began last spring. They'll continue on through the start of the school year. The school board will decide whether or not to proceed with that bond measure later this fall. If they approve the measure, it will go out to voters in February. A bond measure must get 60% yes votes to pass. If it does, more planning and work will begin immediately and will continue over the course of a few years until that work is completed. This is a major project, and we've really just scratched the surface. To get more information, go to the district's website, www.vansd.org/reschools. While you're there, you can check out videos that show the problems with and the plans for the schools that need some help. At this point, 8 or 9 schools will be built or rebuilt under the proposed plan. Every school will get some sort of modernization. Back to school is always a special time for parents and kids and teachers. Nick Vole visited Truman Elementary and found that for some people, the first day of school was even a bigger deal.
On foot with mom and dad, by car, or on the school bus, students arrive at Truman Elementary School.
Okay, walk to the cafeteria.
Staff members help round up the kids, sending them to gathering places before they head to class. It's the very first time for Cedric.
Because I'm excited for kindergarten.
His mom, too.
I'm excited and nervous, but he's excited. He'll do good.
But Cedric isn't the only newbie.
It's my first year as a teacher.
For the very first time, second grade teacher Amy Franz leads her students into the classroom.
On a scale of like 1 to 10, how nervous are you for the first day?
Like an 11. No big deal.
One of her first acts as a teacher is to give the kids a technique for coping with their nerves, and she takes her own advice.
And now breathe in. That made me feel a little more relaxed. Did that make anybody else feel relaxed?
Getting here is the culmination of a lifelong dream for Ms. Franz.
I've wanted to be a teacher since I was a kindergartner, and I just really looked up to my teachers a lot when I was younger and loved the way that they supported me and helped me and wanted to give back in that same way. So I'm really happy that I got to that point.
Heather Van Dyne is at a different point.
This is my last school year.
Ms. Van Dyne is a learning support teacher. This is the final time she'll welcome a new crop of students to Truman, something she's keenly aware of.
Bittersweet, very bittersweet. I'm excited, and at the same time, this is my life. So it's kind of a strange place to be right now.
As kids find their way to the classroom, we asked Ms. Van Dyne what advice she'd give Ms. Franz as she begins her journey as a teacher.
You know, greet the kids every day by name. They know that they're welcome. They know that this is home to them.
Thanks, Nick. By the way, I was part of Truman's very first day of school. I was a 4th grader when that building opened in 1970. The first day of school is a big deal to district leaders too, and we caught up with some at Sarah J. Anderson Elementary. Superintendent Dr. Steve Webb, Board Member Dale Rice, and Vancouver Education Association President Lynn Mayorka toured a number of schools on the first day. They checked on several classrooms. They greeted teachers and students and welcomed them back to school. It's an annual tradition for VPS leaders, and it's one they relish.
I love coming for the first day of school because the teachers and the students are so excited, and it's great to see the school all brightened up and with all the artwork out.
Starting off is important to get it all right in the beginning, because if you start right, you got a shot at finishing right, so it's exciting to see everything going so well.
Listen, I'm so proud of Team VPS and the way in which we've rallied to support our children, set them up for success on the first day of school.
District administrators split off in teams to visit every school in the district. The start of the school year always brings a mix of emotions. Unfortunately, for many parents, one of those emotions is anxiety over money. To ease the stress for parents, the district teamed up with dozens of community partners for a huge event at Hudson's Bay High School. As Tara Cox reports, the 3rd annual Go Ready Readiness Festival was a huge hit with the families.
The line started early in the morning.
on a sweltering August day and wrapped around the gymnasium at Hudson's Bay High School. Despite temperatures nearing 100 degrees, families kept cool. So what was happening inside that was such a draw?
That whole excitement about knowing school is right around the corner.
The third annual Go Ready Back to School Readiness Festival, put on by the Vancouver Public Schools, connects families with resources they need to get ready for the school year ahead.
My twins are starting kindergarten this year, so I just wanted to find out all the resources available to them.
We heard about it through her summer school program, and we thought it'd be a lot of fun.
The event combined hands-on activities for the kids with practical information for moms and dads, thanks to dozens of booths in the Commons. They range from after-school programs,
I found a lot of good information for them,
to social services and more.
New partners who come and they experience today's event get really excited about the impact they're having on students and their families, so they'll want to reconnect with the schools that are closest to their business. So it's really just a way to bridge and start to really inspire new partnerships.
In the gym, families grabbed gently used clothes and shoes for back to school. Outside, the team from Beach's restaurant cooked up hot dogs. Medical professionals conducted free dental care and vision screenings. The dance studio transformed into a hair salon.
I think having that fresh, brand new haircut is a way to really transform a student from their summer outdoor play into a classroom and being ready to learn.
Although more than 1,000 people turned out, they went home happy.
This is my first year, so I'm really excited. It's really nice.
Very organized and very, very friendly.
Well, it's been a busy and fun day here at Go Ready, and we've checked out all the great things inside. But now it's time to get some lunch. Inside Vancouver Public Schools, I'm Tara Cox.
Thank you, Tara. The Go Ready event did not include school supplies, but the community stepped up to make sure those were covered too. The Right from the Start campaign, a joint effort between Vancouver Public Schools, the Foundation for VPS, and other local organizations, brought in nearly 5 tons of school supplies. Businesses collected pencils and paper and more for more than a month. At a special event at EISENHOWER Elementary School, volunteers delivered, then sorted those supplies. According to the foundation, the average supply list costs more than $50 per student.
For some families, $50 is a real stretch, especially if you have multiple kids. So we're trying to ease some of the burden.
Today, we're bringing in enough school supplies that my employees all collected, and should be enough school supplies for 100 kids.
While we were there, Dutch Brothers dropped off its donation. It was one of several local businesses that participated. Among the dozens who donated included Columbia Credit Union, IQ Credit Union, Umpqua Bank, Boomerang Coffee House, and Comcast. Thanks to everyone who helped get the kids off to a good start. Our community's charitable spirit didn't stop at school supplies. The annual Give More 24 event encouraged community members to donate to local charities. As it turns out, the Foundation for Vancouver Public Schools is one of Vancouver's favorites. We caught up with the team from the Foundation at the Vancouver Mall, where they were chatting with some afternoon shoppers. The mall meet and greet was just one way the Foundation reached out to community members, but it may have been the most fun.
It's great to meet people in our community. You know, the Vancouver Mall is in our district, so a lot of our students come through here on a regular basis, so we're meeting their families.
In just 24 hours, the Foundation raised almost $28,000. It was the second most popular local charity in the event, thanks to businesses and individual donors. That money will go toward the Foundation's everyday work of providing basic needs for kids and enriching their educational experience. Kids across Vancouver will get a daily serving of fresh fruits and vegetables thanks to a grant. The U.S. Department of Agriculture granted VPS more than $120,000 again this year to provide fresh snacks to students at several low-income schools. Since 2010, the district has received more than $700,000 in fresh fruit and veggies as a part of this program. Vancouver Public Schools haven't built a new school building in more than a decade. One of the major reasons the district gets so much mileage out of the buildings is its outstanding maintenance team. Amanda Richter tagged along with a crew that uses a modern approach to improve ancient technology.
Jason Lee Middle School opened in 1965. At the heart of the school, in a room students never see, is the boiler. It's pneumatic, so it relies on air pressure and valves to pump heat into classrooms. But the result of that old-fashioned system?
You'd have two rooms right next door to each other. One room would be too cold, one room would be too hot, and I really had no way of controlling that. I mean, if the pneumatics doesn't work, it's impossible to do anything for them.
You know, if we don't have airflow, we don't have ventilation, we don't have heat or cooling, kids aren't able to focus and pay attention in the classroom.
To solve that problem, the district's HVAC team installed a digital system.
So we go from this big mess of tubes and wires and wire caps and everything, and we've turned that whole control structure down into this box.
That means the building operator can now see what parts of the school are too hot or too cold using sensors throughout much of the school. Then he can adjust temperatures on the fly.
With these old systems, you'd call somebody and it takes them a day and a half just to locate the problem because I can't pinpoint the problem. And this is going to make a big difference in that respect.
That means more comfortable students and teachers, and savings on energy. The cost of installing the new gear will be offset by smaller power bills. Another way the district saved money? Using its own staff instead of hiring contractors.
Because it's in-house and we were able to do it on our own, we quality control. Like, we know what the kind of issues we're going to be facing and troubleshooting if we don't do it right, so we've done it right. And we get to do that at about 1/5 of the cost that the contractors would have done it for.
The district's maintenance team takes pride in its work.
We have the trained, qualified personnel to respond and make sure that the doors open and stay open throughout the school year.
This looks just as good as what a contractor did. We know every wire, we know every single pathway that it followed, and we did it for cheaper.
Inside Vancouver Public Schools, I'm Amanda Richter.
Thanks, Amanda. The maintenance team has been helping lead a major project across the district. It's been testing drinking water to make sure it's safe for our kids. Initial tests in all 35 schools came back under the legal limit for lead. That was back in May. Since that first round of tests, the district has gone back to test additional water sources at schools and other buildings. It ran 322 tests in all. It found one kitchen prep sink at Salmon Creek Elementary just over the legal limit. That sink fixture was replaced and retested, and now it's at a safe level. The district's maintenance team will continue to monitor lead levels to be sure that the kids' drinking water is safe. Students who are interested in attending college have a chance to get a head start at a free event. The Future U Expo will bring in dozens of public and private colleges, training programs, trade schools, employers, unions, and the military. It's all about showing students the options they have after graduation. In addition to those groups, there will be information sessions every half hour with topics that include how to get scholarships and financial aid. This event is October 25th from 5 p.m. to 8 at Hudson's Bay High School. Vancouver High School opened in 1888. In 1956, the name was changed to Fort Vancouver after Hudson's Bay High School opened nearby. This year, Fort is recognizing some of the people that gave the school such a proud history. The gym at Fort Vancouver is jam-packed with current and former trappers. Vancouver Mayor Tim Levitt, a Fort alum, is the MC. In the stands, students cheer as the school honors distinguished alumni.
But it was definitely hard because there's so many alums that have done so many amazing things in their lives.
Senior Brooke McKay was part of the committee that selected the honorees.
I really think it's great for the students to see. They can see that even if you go to a school that maybe doesn't have the best rep, you can do amazing things with their life.
All the nominees have done just that. Dale Beacock, class of 48, veteran, music teacher, founder of Vancouver's own Beacock Music. Jolene Unsold, class of 49, former state and U.S. representative and accomplished mountaineer. Tom and Kathy Mears, class of 59, business leaders and philanthropists. Bo and Rose Sem, class of 92, business owners and youth mentors. And H.D. Waddell, class of 75, a member of the Oregon Wrestling Hall of Fame for his career at Oregon State and a career educator. His life's work was inspired by his time at Fort.
The teachers had just a real impact on my life. And I thought maybe I could do the same, that maybe I could touch somebody's life the way they touched mine.
He's passed on that love of education that he learned in the hallways at Fort.
And I keep in contact with so many of my kids who are now teachers. In fact, the vice principal here is one of my teachers.
Some things have changed since '75.
You know, when I went to high school, we were 3 grades, not 4. Much more diverse, which is really healthy.
Some things are still the same.
Kids are kids throughout the years. And
the distinguished alumni will have their portraits hung near the school entrance, and a group of former trappers donated more than $5,800 at the assembly. This is a new tradition at Fort, one that seeks to build connections between former and current students and remind the kids that their lives are what they choose to make of them.
For me, it was really great to see them come in, and it made me have more pride in my school.
If you're a proud Fort Vancouver alumnus, like me, class of '79, you can help support that school. The Trappers for Trappers Foundation is a nonprofit group that seeks to connect former and current students. To learn more about their mission, Google Trappers for Trappers with the number 4, and you'll find the website. Finally, some students headed back to the classroom over the summer, and while they weren't outside, they still found time to have some fun. The Summer Literacy Academy at Roosevelt Elementary School brought in kids who needed a little extra help with reading before the new school year. To keep things light for the kids, their teachers had them do a performance to the Bengals song, "Walk Like an Egyptian." As teacher Becky Miller explains, it's not just for fun.
You probably can't remember a book you read when you were in 5th grade, but I bet you can remember every song you've ever learned. So it's also a great way for your brain to retrieve those words. So literacy and music just go hand in hand to help readers become better readers.
Tying in with the Egyptian theme, the students also studied some history from that region and did other lessons around that song as well. This was one of several extra learning opportunities put on by the district over the summer. That's it for us. You can catch more programming from Vancouver Public Schools on its YouTube page. That's youtube.com/VanSDTV. Until next time, I'm Paul.